Today I'm going to show you how I wind a hank of yarn into a cake. Take the yarn, hold it by the label, gently tease out where it's tied in on itself. Keep holding it where the label is tied and allow it to unravel and untwist. Pull it apart where the string and just gently stretch it into shape. Mine looks like it's a fraction twisted. There we go. Now the strands look like they're nice and parallel to each other. Place it over the swift. Make sure it's not too tight. This one needs a peg moving forward. There we go. We don't want the yarn to hang down loose, but we also don't want it to be too tight. So that feels nice. Check all the strands are roughly parallel. And when you're happy, you can cut off the label. If any of the strands were looking like they were twisted, like that, then you just need to turn the yarn and untwist them. So cut the label, and now go to the other end of the hank, and there's a knot that was keeping everything in place. I'm just going to cut off that knot, remove the scrap piece of yarn that was tied on, there we go. And now I need to decide which strand I'm going to use to wind. This one looks like it's coming from the inside, so I'm going to leave that over there. I'll just undo a couple of yards just to check. Yes, all appears to be coming from the outside. Pop it into the guide on the ball winder and into the spool. And now I'm going to gently start winding. I like to keep hold of the strand of yarn as I'm winding. And that way, if there was a problem with the tension, I would know about it straight away and I'd be able to pause or stop winding. You just want a nice even pace. You don't want to go too fast, because if you go too fast, there's a danger that if there was a twist in the yarn on the swift, that you wouldn't be able to stop in time, and then everything could get tangled. So just a nice, even, steady pace. This usually takes about 5 minutes for a skein that was that size, which was 231 yards. When you're about halfway, perhaps 2/3 of the way through the hank, you might notice that the yarn is looking a little loose on the swift, so it's a good idea to pause and just check and see, do the pegs need to be altered? This one does, so I'm just going to push the peg a couple of notches out, so I'm still getting that nice tension on the yarn, which helps to keep it nice and neat. Nearly at the end. As you get towards the end, it's a good idea to just slow down a little, because sometimes the hank of yarn will like to spin around your swift and it'll just turn of its own accord, and that in itself can create tangles. So when there's only just a few strands left, just slow down and go a fraction slower. There we go. There we are, that's the end of the hank, and we've got a perfectly formed cake of yarn.